Whether you're planning to free hit or not, this video contains all the information you need going into Game Week 32. Now, starting off the video as I do with all of these, I'm going for the top players for each position sorted by expected points. Goalkeepers and defenders up first. Interestingly, this week, the top goalkeeper for expected points is Crystal Palace's Sam Johnston. I think that sort of leads into probably the best goalkeeper this game week if you're on a free hit. And you can see the rest of the goalkeepers there. The likes of David Raya, still relatively good in terms of expected points if you don't have your free hit and have someone like him in your team. And yeah, as I said, you can see the rest of the top goalkeepers there. Interestingly, it's probably the first time for a while he's been ranked number one for defenders. But we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold there, top of the defenders with 6 expected points, followed by Zinchenko, Trippier, White, Robertson, Gabriel and Van Dijk. It's basically Trippier plus Arsenal and Liverpool defenders that are backed to do the best this game week. Midfielders and forwards now, and yeah, these are the guys with the most expected points of all the players. Obviously, midfielders and forwards are the best assets in FPL. Top in total this week is Gabriel Martinelli. It's an interesting one as to who you go for as your captain this week. I'd suggest if you don't have Mo Salah, can't either bring him in because you're not on a free hit or don't fancy him on your free hit. I think Martinelli is an excellent captaincy shout. I know Salah doesn't quite have the expected points, but it's not much between him and Martinelli. Personally, I think Salah is the strongest captain for Game Week 32, just because of pretty much you can guarantee the fact he's going to play. And I know he's missed 2 already, but I still think he's going to be on penalties for Liverpool. And I don't know about you, but I can't see him missing a third if he gets one against Forest. So for me, I think Salah's going to be my captain. But looking at the expected points, there's a very genuine case for Martinelli or Jesus or Saka as well. And yeah, just looking at the rest of those midfielders, got Saka second, Odegaard, Gakpo. I like Gakpo, but the question is really with the Liverpool forwards is who's actually going to start. Draft are predicting that Gakpo starts. I'm not too sure. I think it will depend on how they get on against Leeds. I'm recording this on Monday morning. So yeah, I haven't seen the Liverpool-Leeds game yet. It hasn't happened yet when I'm recording this. So it remains to be seen what happens there. Son is quite an interesting one, particularly if you're on your free hit. And I know Eze is going to be a popular option as well. And you can see the rest of the midfielders there. On to the forwards. Jesus leads the way in terms of expected points with 6.9, followed by Kane. I think that's one of Kane's lowest expected points totals we've seen this season. So I generally do think on the free hit draft, if you're playing it, you could feasibly go without Harry Kane this week. I do think that's a viable option, just looking at the expected points of other players compared to him. Ollie Watkins, always up there. What a fantastic game week he had in game week 31. He's been an absolute hero of my FPL season, and I imagine he's probably helped you out as well. Yeah, the rest of the players can be seen there. Again, similar to Gakpo with Darwin Núñez, I really like him as an option if you can guarantee that he plays against Forest, but I just don't feel like you can. Like, Liverpool just have so many options going forward now. And obviously, I think it depends on performance against Leeds as well. They just have so many options. I don't think you can guarantee who's going to play. And I think it's just, beyond Salah at least, I think it's a bit risky to look at bringing their players in. On now to the clean sheet odds. And yeah, no surprise, it sort of roughly reflects the top goalkeepers and defenders for expected points. So we've got the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Crystal Palace leading the way in terms of clean sheet odds. Arsenal top of the tree, 58% to keep a clean sheet. Liverpool 56, Crystal Palace 45. I get behind those numbers. I think they've really improved under Roy Hodgson. They got a home fixture against Everton, and I would suggest Palace are notoriously very solid at Selhurst Park. There's such a good atmosphere there for them, and defensively they always seem to perform at Selhurst Park. They've obviously beaten a lot of very good teams in the past at that stadium, so I feel like Everton at home is a fixture they could well keep a clean sheet in. So again, that's probably why Sam Johnston is top of the tree for expected points. Not only is he backed heavily to keep a clean sheet, I think he's also got the chance of getting some saves bonus as well to back it up. Newcastle in 4th, followed by West Ham, Leicester, Fulham and Brentford. Usually with these kinds of things, I don't like to back defenders with anything below 30% clean sheet odds. With the one exception of Aston Villa, I think they've been performing at such a high level recently under Unai Emery, both going forwards and defensively, that I don't think Brentford away a clean sheet is impossible. For the rest of the fixtures, I think probably less so in terms of clean sheets. But Villa is another one that I would add to the defences that I'd be considering in my team. And yeah, Forest and Southampton, if you've got any of those defenders, I think you're probably best off selling them, even if you need to start them, because I don't foresee a clean sheet at all. In fact, I think you'd be lucky not to get minus points. Goal scoring and goal involvement odds up next. On the left, we've got a player's likelihood to score a goal according to DraftHound, and on the right is the player's likelihood to be involved in a goal. So that's either scoring or assisting, of course. So on the left, looking at goal scoring odds, Jesus tops the tree. It's followed by Salah, Darwin Núñez, Jota, Nketiah, Kane, Saka, Martinelli, Firmino, Nelson, Gakpo. You have to take this list with a pinch of salt, really. It assumes that all these players are going to start and they're all going to play 90 minutes. So, yeah, obviously that's not the case with some of these. Is Jota, Darwin Núñez, Nketiah, Nelson, Firmino, are they all going to, and Gakpo, add Gakpo to that list, are they all going to play 90 minutes? I'm a bit unsure. So, yeah, take that with a pinch of salt and go for the players that you think are nailed. And then goal involvement odds, again, Jesus tops the list. Salah in a close second, followed by Saka, Darwin Núñez, Martinelli, and the rest of the players are there for you to see. Again, Harry Kane is a bit weaker than we've seen him in previous weeks. And again, I make the argument, you'll see a free hit draft in a second. I do actually have him in. But there is a genuine argument if you can't build a team you're happy with Harry Kane in it. I wouldn't be too scared to not have him. I don't think, for the price that you're paying for him, I don't think those goal scoring, goal involvement, and expected points numbers are necessarily good enough to pick him. I think I'm on the verge myself, actually, of having him in or not in my free hit draft. So, yeah, that's probably the Harry Kane point is the big one to summarise there. Okay, so this is DraftHound's top 11. It doesn't take into account budget. It's just the best 11 players that you can pick for a combined score. And I think realistically, that probably lines up to the players that you're expecting to see based on the expected point. So Johnson in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Trippier, Robertson, Martinelli, Saka, Salah, Son, Jesus, Kane, and Isaac. I really like this team, actually, for a free hit. I think this should probably inspire quite a lot of your picks in a free hit. I know this team isn't affordable. It's not 100 million, so you have to take some of these players out. But I think just to give you a guide maybe of who to pick in your free hit, I thought this was a nice graphic to show. And now, if you're not free hitting, or you just want some inspirations of some players that I think look really good to bring into your team, my number one pick for Game Week 32, if you can afford to bring him in, is Mo Salah. I think he's probably the best captaincy option for Game Week 32. He might not have the highest expected points according to the DraftHound algorithms, but I just think there's so much behind Salah at the moment compared to Martinelli that I just back him to do better. I think he's more nailed to play the 90 minutes. Obviously, Trossard featured against West Ham and played really well. There's always a risk that Martinelli's going to share minutes with Trossard, whereas Salah, you've got to think he's nailed on that right-hand side, providing he doesn't get injured against Leeds, of course. As I said, I'm recording this on Monday morning, so hopefully that doesn't happen. And yeah, I just think Forest at home is a great fixture. And looking at Game Week 34 as well, Spurs at home, Fulham at home, that Anfield factor for Liverpool, that's two really nice fixtures for him, and you could quite easily foresee him scoring in both of those games. I know he missed the last two penalties he took, but I still back him to take them. That's sort of Salah's nature, really. He is just a selfish player, and I think he'll still try and take all the penalties for Liverpool. So that's one of the selling factors, obviously, of Salah. He's only had 2 penos this season, and unfortunately he's missed both of them. So hoping that fortune changes, he gets some penalties in the next 2 or 3 weeks and actually scores them. And I know Liverpool haven't been performing at a great level this season, but I don't think Salah's numbers have dipped too much. 0.75 expected returns per 90 is still one of the top players in the Premier League for, expected returns per 90. Nearly one, basically. He's, getting nearly 1 return per 90, basically, with those stats. That's a lot better than the Arsenal midfielders as a whole across the season. I think Martinelli 6, probably about 0.6. So yeah, he's better than Martinelli in terms of underlying numbers, and that's why I think he's the best captain for Game Week 32. Now, this one might be a bit controversial to some people, but hear me out. I think Liverpool defenders are quite sensible transfers in this game week. That's purely because I think the Forest at home fixture is good. It's at Anfield, and I feel like Liverpool just have an X factor about them when they play at Anfield. I think that just improves them as a team as a whole. The atmosphere there, it's different, to most Premier League stadiums. So I feel like Liverpool really rise to the occasion of a game at Anfield, and I think that just means, when they've got a consistent run of games at Anfield like they do, so looking at the next sort of, how many is that, 7 fixtures, only 3 of them are away from home. So there's 4 home fixtures there in the next 7, where I think you could largely back them to keep a clean sheet, really. 32, I think they've got good clean sheet odds at 56, and then a nice double in 34, Tottenham and Fulham at home, with decent clean sheet odds as well, I don't mind the Liverpool defence as options. And of course, when you look at Trent and Robertson, they've got a good upside of attacking returns as well. And to be honest, those are the two I'd probably pick from the Liverpool defence. Because out of Konate and Matip, I'm not sure there's one that's nailed. And then Van Dijk, he's great, but you know, he's only really going to get clean sheets for you. So you want the upside of attacking returns. So I think Trent and Robbo, particularly, are sensible transfers in. It wouldn't be a Game Week 32 video, I don't think, without mentioning Gabriel Jesus, and he's the cover star of my thumbnail as well. His underlying numbers are absolutely sensational, and since returning to the team, he's done really well in that Arsenal squad. 0.9 expected returns per 90 is one of the best in the Premier League, and I think he's their first choice centre-forward. He's very differential at the moment as well. I think that will change in 32. A lot of people are going to have him in their free hit drafts, but right now, most people, and obviously if people have him in their free hit draft, they're not going to have him for Game Week 33. So, you know, if you don't have your free hit, maybe using your free transfer on Jesus is a sensible thing to do. 0.96 ownership in the top 10k makes him an absolutely massive differential. And the underlying numbers are fantastic. It's very rare you see a player with those good underlying numbers and that low an ownership. Just the way all of our teams are structured at the moment. But I think going forward, Gabriel Jesus is a great option. And I know fixtures against Man City and Chelsea on paper look difficult, but I mean, really, do you not expect Arsenal to score against Chelsea? And then Man City, they're okay defensively, but they have been shipping goals. So, you know, I do think Man City will probably win that game, but I also foresee Arsenal scoring against them. I don't see any reason why they couldn't. So I wouldn't let those two fixtures put me off. And I think Gabriel Jesus is a great option. Now, for all you free hitters out there, I've updated my best free hit draft, in my opinion. A couple of additions from the video I made on Sunday. So Guehi and Kane are in, Trippier and Isaac are out. And I've also brought Mings in for Nico Williams on my bench. I just feel like dropping Trippier to Guehi allows me to bring in Kane. And although I said I'm not massively sold on Harry Kane, I think I prefer him to Isaac because you're never worried about Harry Kane starting. You know, he's going to play that Newcastle away game, whereas Isaac, he's a bit of a minute's risk. And Kane, we all know he can just pop up with a goal against anyone. He might not haul against Newcastle, given that's a difficult fixture, but, you know, you would not be surprised to see him score 1 or 2 goals from a penalty or something like that. And yeah, there are certainly other options in the midfield. I see quite a few people going for Eze. I just feel the Arsenal midfielders are stronger and more reliable. I know they've had some tricky fixtures and the results haven't gone their way of past, but they've not had a problem scoring goals, and most of the midfielders have been involved in them. Obviously, Saka had a penalty against West Ham, which he unfortunately missed. That could have gone differently any other day, and if he did score that penalty, it would have meant that all 3 of these Arsenal midfielders would have returned against West Ham. So yeah, I feel like the Arsenal midfield triple up is probably the strongest way to go. It does mean I don't have Jesus, who I've bigged up, but I do have Watkins, Kane and Toney, who I think have been very reliable all season, and I wouldn't be surprised to see any of them get some attacking returns this week. So yeah, if you're on your free hit, let me know what you think of this draft in the comments. That's the end of the video. I'm hoping the Ultimate Guide title lived up to the name there, and whether you're free hitting or not, that gave you all the information you need going into Game Week 32. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments, whether you would agree or disagree with some of the opinions that I've made there. If you like the video, I'd appreciate you leaving me a like and subscribing to the Golden Goal channel, and I'll see you in my next video.